And can you tell us a bit about the Grimm?
The Grimm is basically a genre mashup of horror, and the best way to kind of describe it is like the unit meets the Ghostbusters, or another quick elevator pitch I give people is like, what if Eddie Munster was raised by Dev Seal Team 6? And it's just basically like a special operations unit that goes and deals with like paranormal, and it's got comedy aspects to it, and it's, you know, whimsical, and you know, this is one of the main villains in one of the books, so it's just, I want a humorous, fun horror book. So I'm a real big fan of the Ghostbusters and, you know, all the crazy nomenclature and the writing of like Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd and stuff they come up with, and inspired by a lot of different things, man. So.
What do you think makes your series stand out the most from others?
You know, the phrase "nothing new under the sun." You know, it's kind of has its obvious, you know, influences like Hellboy, like monsters hunting monsters, but it has its own crazy twist on it. It's like the main character has a talking jack-o'-lantern, and he's a monster. And I don't really specify, you know, exactly what he is, but you know, you don't give away the origin, and that's what made like a character like Wolverine so awesome, was the mystique behind him. But it has its twists, I think, that are going to separate it from your typical, you know, I'm a monster hunting monster type books. So.
And right now you only have 2 issues of that.
2 issues, and the second part of the Kylum Simianus will probably be out in about 45 days.
And can you tell us a bit about any other projects you have planned, or is this it for now?
This is it for now. So I mean, I'm kind of pouring everything I have into writing and doing illustration for this book.
I'm Henri Kompen. I am the writer and creator of a series called Shin, Warrior and Defender. The book is published by myself, and it is about a Korean admiral who fought the Japanese in the 1500s. He's outnumbered 10-1, and he beat him 23 times in a row without losing. It's all based on a true story. So fans of movies like 300 and Last Samurai are in for a treat.
Can you tell us a bit about the content?
Yeah. The book is definitely more mature rated. Everything is colored digitally, and we really take our time to put as much focus as we can into every panel of every page of the book. Everything is choreographed, like any big fight scenes are strategically put together so that, you know, readers get the best effect. We want to give readers the biggest bang for their buck, and art is the quality of the artwork is the most important thing for us in achieving what we set out to do.
And what do you think makes your series stand out the most from the rest?
It tells the story of a true life hero, and we always read about superheroes in comics and stuff like that. So here's something to shake things up. This is a real person that existed, and they had an impact on history and the world as we know it.
And as far as other forms of media, where else can you get this besides the print version?
We're selling it on the iPad. People can go and download Graphically. It's a comic book reading application, and you can just go through the App Store on the iPad and purchase it. And then people can just scroll down, and they will find me over here, Henri Kompen Productions. Just click right here, and then you will see all 3 issues for sale, and each copy is going for $1.99. So, that is it.
My name is Aaron Shaps. I am the writer of many things, most recently Zeroids, published by Moonstone Entertainment. It's based on an old toy line from the 1960s and 70s. It's a completely new story, and it's got a little bit of everything. It's about an alien invasion. It's got aliens, it's got zombies, it's got really cool retro robots, sexy sorority girls, you name it. The art's really good. I mean, I think that it definitely holds up to anything that some of the bigger companies are putting out. Moonstone's always very high quality, and I'm real happy with the way that this came out. It was released last year in October and November, just resolicited in Diamond in February, so I guess that would make it April and May it's going to be re-released. So if you missed it the first time, it's called Zeroids from Moonstone. Make sure you check it out. If you like zombies, if you like science fiction, if you like stuff like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you'll definitely dig it. The other thing I've got going is my own character, General Jack Cosmo. The best way I could describe him in a nutshell, he's a cross between Flash Gordon and Hunter S. Thompson. So if you're into classic sci-fi stuff like Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, Adam Strange, any of the Edgar Rice Burroughs sci-fi stuff, and if you dig Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and other stuff by Hunter Thompson, check this out. It's basically a pulp-flavored sci-fi action comic. It's the best way I would describe it. These are the first 2 issues of a 4-issue miniseries. There's some other stuff with General Jack Cosmo in the works, but this is the main stuff that's out right now.
As far as the content, what can one expect from it?
Well, General Jack Cosmo is a mature reader's book, so it's basically rated R. We say, ages 17 and up. There's no sex or anything like that. It's just language and violence. But it's basically the story of a pretty crazy dude who becomes a space hero on another world and has a series of epic adventures on a very, how would I explain it? It's a world very similar to Mongo from Flash Gordon. If you're familiar with that, it's basically an alien world that has a variety of different cultures, all kinds of different creatures, different, races. Some are good, some are bad. And really, it's hard. It's a story about a guy trying to find his way back to his wife who he's been separated from. But to do it, he has to cross this entire world and basically fight his way across an entire world.
I was hired freelance at High Voltage to work on Harvey Birdman, which is a 2D game platform for the Wii, PS2, and so from there, since it was 2D, it was really tailored towards me.
I see now you're into the comic field. How's that going for you?
The comic field has always been in my blood. That's where it's always started. Ever since born back when I was a little kid. So this is me. Giving back to the comic book field, it's my home outside of my job and my home. So I'm always going to keep giving back to the comic books. I've got buddies up and down this road.
So are some of your comics based off childhood ideas you have?
Totally, because who doesn't love Halloween, right? Everybody loves Halloween.
Right.
So that's totally childhood idea. And plus, keeping it 2D, again, I'm old school. I used to wake up Saturday mornings and watch the old Scooby-Doo, whatever, Superman, crap like that. They show on a regular broadcast station, but they don't show anymore. And Hanna-Barbera stuff. And it's just me wanting to get back to that route. This is all my childhood. I'm a kid in my head. I'm a big guy, but inside my head, I'm this little kid. And all I want to do is create. If I don't, I'll cry. So yeah, that's me getting back.
And out of curiosity, what video games have you been playing lately?
Oh man, I really want to get into the DC universe. That's one game. I actually, surprisingly enough, don't play much video games because it takes away from my time to draw. I will sit down, I'll be glued to my video game system. So I purposely don't play video games. So really, I think I owe my counsel more for Netflix. But when I do have my time, I'll definitely sit down and play some games.
I'm Brian Cowley. I'm the writer and artist on Hamster Rage.
And can you tell us a bit about your webcomic series?
Sure. Hamster Rage is about a superhero whose childhood pet hamster comes back into her life, has the same powers as her, and causes all sorts of problems in her life. And basically, initially, where we're starting at is that right now, as where we're at the comic is we've had a bunch of guest stars, and now we're having she's meeting him for the first time in the comic, and the latest one that will come out. And we'll go from there.
From my understanding, this is a side project, correct?
This is this is basically something that I'm doing on the side to try to develop it and try to develop myself as an illustrator. It's really a learning experience. It's me. I'm learning as I go. I'm learning more about writing. I'm learning more about illustration. I'm trying to get my 10,000 bad drawings out and become a better artist by doing this.
So what exactly do you do full time then?
I'm a graphic designer. I'm a freelance graphic designer. I had been a creative director at a company, and now I'm mainly freelance. And that's that's it, pretty much.
And I see here that you do some sketches. Can you tell us a bit about what you've done so far today?
Sure. I did a sketch of one guy's character. I did a sketch of death. I did a hamster rage sketch, and right now I'm doing a couple of mini paintings. And yeah, I'm having fun doing that.
My name is David Gruber. I'm a writer and editor for Press Comics, and I'm the creator of such books as White Knight and Bride of the Wolf Lady.
Can you tell us a bit about White Knight?
White Knight is the story of a Cheyenne Indian who's been cursed with everlasting life, and he is still alive today, and he has been hunting down the descendants of the shaman that cursed him in hopes to break the curse. And the story takes place in the past and the present, so that you learn how White Knight became the way he is and what's happened before, while you're following the current storyline, which takes place in the present here in Chicago.
And you can tell us a bit about the art style?
We've got two artists on it. Because it's in the past and the present, we decided that we'd go with two styles. The past is done in a more 70s comic book style, and the present is done in a more modern, kind of manga mashup style, kind of the modern style.
And in terms of content, what can we expect?
It's truly an action comic, kind of a modern day western. The violence is a little bit graphic. There's a lot of shooting and killing, but it's in black and white, so it's not real bloody. There's no bad language or nudity in the book. So it is a more mature book. I would say it's kind of like a PG-13 type book.
And was it inspired by anything in particular?
Well, I've always enjoyed Native American history, and I was looking to do something different, and I had come up with a character that I was working on a fantasy idea where the character was cursed with everlasting life and still alive. But the fantasy thing just wasn't working, so I tried to think of how I could do it and bring it into the present day. And so I thought Native Americans would be the perfect thing because of their beliefs and heritage and such. And so that's where I went with it, and it just kind of went from there. I came up with a story to tell. So it's just a 5-issue mini-series, but there will probably be future stories to tell also.
And are there any plans of this expanding to other media, maybe an animation?
I always thought it would be cool to animate. A lot of people have told me that, or even a live-action film. Unfortunately, until we get the series done, it'd be kind of hard to push that. But yeah, I could definitely see it done kind of on an anime style type of cartoon, or I really could see it as a film.
And right now, only the first issue is available, correct?
That's correct. We did the first issue as basically a one-shot, mostly to get it out there and generate interest while we're working on the other parts of the miniseries. Once we release the rest of the miniseries, I'm sure we put it together as a trade afterwards.
My name is Renee Castellano. I'm the publisher of Instant Press Comics.
All right, and can you tell us a bit about Distant?
Distant is a 4-issue miniseries done by a friend of mine in Italy. His name is Manuel. And pretty much the reason why we published this is because in Italy they have a very strict standard of art, mainly dealing with the French style. He's found it hard to get published or get noticed, and he really loves Japanese style. So I told him in America, we love just about anything, and I'd be more than happy to put his work out, get him some recognition.
And from my understanding, though, in terms of manga, it's just a style, right? It doesn't really imply the Japanese culture on like traditional.
Exactly, it's just the style itself. The storytelling, the backgrounds are more Italian. So he used references from Rome, and just around his home, he used a lot of the backgrounds, and none of it necessarily reflects the Japanese culture.
And what makes it stand out from other manga series?
Well, I think one of the things that makes it stand out the most is that it really just focuses more on story. It doesn't have anything to do with fan service. There's no fan service. There's no, just cheap jokes. There's nothing like that. It's just story. It's a very good paced story, and I think that really stands out the most for me.
And is the fourth issue, is that the ending or
It's the ending. It's an ambiguous ending, but it is an ending.
And does he plan on continuing the series again?
He's mentioned that he would like to do a follow-up someday, but he hasn't really done anything to follow up yet. He hasn't had any plans confirmed yet about it.